The one they laughed at, wrote their destiny, barefoot and broken in the dry heart of Africa, where the wind dances with dust and the baobab trees whisper secrets of old. There lived a boy named Achoma. Achoma was not like the other children in the village of Kwana. He was small, thin as a stick, and walked with a limp that made his every step look like a fight with the earth itself. His left leg was twisted, and he dragged it as he moved, one slow step at a time. He wore no shoes. He owned no blanket. He had no mother to sing to him at night, and no father to hold his hand during storms. They were both taken by the famine. First his father, who gave the last piece of yam to his son. Then his mother, who starved with a smile on her lips. As long as Achoma lives, she had whispered, my soul will rest in peace. But life was not kind to orphans in Kwana. The village boys, especially the sons of the wealthy, laughed when they saw Achoma. Look! The cripple boy is coming. Where are your shoes, Achoma? Did the chickens steal them? Maybe if you walked faster, the flies wouldn't reach you first. They were cruel. Kambo, the butcher's son. Jabari, the trader's son. Tommy, whose father was chief of cattle. They wore clean shirts, leather sandals, and pride in their hearts. Achoma, in his torn rags and limp step, was a joke to them, but Achoma never spoke back. That he would lower his eyes, clutch his old wooden stick, and walk on. Behind the village, near the edge of the forest, lived old Nana Zola. She was not his grandmother, but she took him in when no one else would. Her house was a clay hut with holes in the roof and a mat made from banana leaves. She fed him cassava scraps and river water, and called him, my lion cub. My lion cub, she told him one night, never roar too early. The jungle is always watching. Achoma didn't understand then. But he listened every day, while other boys chased goats or threw stones at birds. Achoma sat under the mango tree. With a stick, he traced letters into the dirt. B, C, letters he had seen once in a torn book. He collected broken pencils and leftover paper that traders left behind. His mind was hungry, more than his stomach. He wanted to learn. He wanted to grow, but the mockery never stopped. One day, at the village square, Kambo kicked Achoma's walking stick from under him. The boy fell face first into the dust. The people laughed. Tommy even threw a rotten orange at him. Go back to the ground, earthworm, they shouted. But Achoma didn't cry. He didn't shout. He lay still, breathing in the dust, eyes closed, until the laughter faded. That night, when he returned to Nana Zola, his hands were bleeding, and so was his pride. My lion cub, Nana whispered, wiping his wounds, do not let them make you small. One day, they will bow where they once laughed. Achoma didn't reply. He simply stared at the moon and made a promise in his heart, I will become something. I will become someone. And they will remember me not as the cripple, but as the one they once mocked. The next morning, Nana Zola sold her last brass bracelet. With the money, she bought Achoma a slate board, 2 pieces of chalk, and one small storybook with the corners torn. Knowledge, she said, is the strongest leg you'll ever walk on. Achoma smiled for the first time in months. The silent climb in the heat of Kwana, where laughter often came at another's pain. Achoma rose with the sun. Each morning, he limped to the tree by the old well, the one the elders said had dried up with sorrow. There, he placed his slate on a stone and traced letters with trembling hands. He had no teacher. No classroom. But he had will, and that was his school. the other children would pass him by. Some whispered. Some pointed. Others laughed openly. Still trying to be a scholar, cripple? Maybe when your leg gets straight, your brain will too. But Achoma didn't stop that he had learned to listen only to the wind, to the beat of his heart, and to the voice of Nana Zola that always echoed in his soul. The ground does not decide your height. Your spirit does. That year, something changed in the village. A traveling teacher named Mr. Muta arrived from the city. He had kind eyes and a bag full of books. The chief had invited him to teach the village boys, but only the sons of the rich. The rest were told to keep to the farms, the rivers, or the market stalls. Achoma watched from the fence. He wasn't allowed inside. But each day, he sat beneath the same mango tree, listening, learning through the cracks in the wall. One evening, as Mr. Muta walked by, he spotted Achoma scribbling math on his slate using crushed charcoal. Who taught you that? Mr. Muta asked. Achoma looked up, startled. No one, sir. I read old papers. I listen. Mr. Muta knelt down. He checked the sums. They were correct. You learned this alone? Yes, sir. That night, Mr. Muta visited Nana Zola's hut. I want to teach him, he said. Not just because he's smart, but because he's brave. From then on, every evening after teaching the village boys, Mr. Muta came to the mango tree. He brought pages, stories, questions. Achoma soaked it all like dry ground tasting rain for the first time. The same boys who mocked him were now shocked. Why is the teacher wasting time on him? Cambo complained, he's just a cripple. But Mr. Muta replied, and yet he learns more than all of you combined. At first, jealousy grew. Then fear. And one day, rage. Tommy and Jabbery cornered Achoma near the market after sunset. They pushed him down and tore his slate in half. This is your place. Tommy spat in the dust. But Achoma didn't fight back. He stood, limping, bleeding, quiet, and walked away. He had learned a different kind of strength. 3 seasons passed. One day, Mr. Muta announced that a scholarship competition would be held in the region's capital. The best student from each village would go. The rich boys were excited. Their fathers paid for tutors, bought shiny books, and made promises to the chief, but Mr. Muta turned to Achoma. I want you to enter. The village laughed louder than ever. Him? He doesn't even have shoes. He can't even climb the steps to the school. But Mr. Muta said, he's already climbed higher than any of you. Nana Zola wept. She held Achoma's face and said, if your parents could see you now, their bones would sing in their graves. And so, barefoot and limping, Achoma joined the scholarship exam. He sat in a hall filled with boys wearing fine clothes and polished shoes. But his head was high, and his heart steady. He wrote with fire, and when the results came weeks later, Achoma had won. The boy they mocked, the boy with no shoes, the cripple who walked slower than others, was going to the capital, to the city of light, to study among the stars, and the ones who laughed, they watched in silence, their pride swallowed, their eyes wide with disbelief. But Achoma, he turned only once, to the mango tree, to the ground where he once wrote letters in dust, and smiled. The boy who became a legend. The city of Mandika roared with life, cars hummed like bees, tall buildings scratched the sky, and light poured from every corner like melted gold. It was nothing like Quana. Here, no one called him cripple. No one cared that his clothes were patched or that he walked with a limp. Here, Achoma was a scholar. The school he entered was called the Grand Academy of Wisdom, a place where sons of governors, business leaders, and foreign diplomats studied. Boys with watches on their wrists and servants at their side. Boys who had never known hunger or the sting of laughter. Achoma was different. He came with a single cloth bag, carrying only 2 shirts, his storybook from Nana Zola, and the broken half of his slate board. He placed it on his desk every day as a reminder, never forget where you began. At first, the other students avoided him. His accent was thick. His clothes smelled of the village. But as weeks passed, they noticed something strange. Achoma always had the highest grades. He answered questions others stumbled through. He wrote essays with heart. He solved problems like his mind was made of lightning. Teachers began to praise him. Students began to admire him. Some tried to copy him. Others just watched in silence, but Achoma never bragged. He never forgot the taste of dust, the pain of being mocked, or the warmth of Nana Zola's words. Every Sunday, he wrote her letters. Dear Nana, they wear suits here. I wear courage, they laugh with mouths. I smile with memory. I miss the mango tree. Months became years, and then, one day, during his final year, a news reporter came to the academy. He was preparing a special story on students who inspire the nation. When he met Achoma and heard his tale, he wept. The article was titled, "The Boy They Laughed At Now Teaches the World." It spread like wildfire. Radio stations spoke of him. Ministers quoted him. Even the president invited him to the palace, and in the village of Kwana, something stirred. For the first time in many years, the name Achoma was spoken not in mockery, but in awe. Tommy, now a goat herder, stared at the newspaper in shame. Cambo, who had failed to finish school, muttered, "That boy, that same boy." Even Jabbery, now a small trader, remembered the rotten orange he once threw. But Achoma, he didn't look back to shame them. He looked back to remind himself that every fall, every insult, every scar was a step toward his rise. When Achoma graduated, he didn't choose the big job offers in the city. He didn't stay where life was comfortable. He returned to Kwana, yes, the same village that had mocked him. People gasped when they saw him step out of the vehicle. He wore simple clothes. But he walked like a lion. Proud. Calm. Bright. At the village square, he spoke. I come not to boast, but to build. I come to start a school. A place where no child is laughed at for being poor, where no one is judged for walking differently, where knowledge is free, like the wind. They cried. Even the ones who once laughed. He built a beautiful school near the old mango tree. He called it Zola Academy of Hope. And every child who entered its gates saw a statue by the entrance, a barefoot boy holding a broken slate, looking toward the sky. The words beneath it read, "They laughed, until he taught them how to rise."